Hey guys, welcome out to the range. Today we're going to be running the Overland Course, the newly extended Overland Course, with a 7.5 that you guys have seen before and I recently modified. I was finding that with the optics setup the way it was, because of my big old noggin, my face was kind of getting lifted just a little bit and sound was getting in and kind of popping me, so I have it set up now the way you guys have seen my other rifles. Daniel Defense, Rock and Lock, hard sights, and then a Holosun, oh jeepers, I always forget what this one is. The HS403R, which, gotta tell you, has really impressed me. Daniel Defense, Rock and Lock. Now what's interesting, this optic is not an aim point like exactly to scale. So to get lower third co-witness, you actually don't have to use the mount for the Daniel Defense, and what you end up with is the base of this mimics the riser, the extra riser that comes with the Daniel Defense. So it actually gives you a lower third co-witness. And then I've got a Surefire X300 UB, which is the one with the cross screw as opposed to the cross slot that goes on a handgun. This is specifically designed for rifles, or I'm sorry, for Picatinny weapons. And then you guys already have seen this weapon many times over, so let's get to it. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you a kind of a variation of the Overland Course that I think would be a lot of fun. Because you can either do it solely with vehicle or solely on foot, or you can do a hybrid of the two. So I'm going to show you guys the hybrid of the two. So basically what we're doing is we're just getting out of the vehicle and we're moving on foot to the starting position up here. As usual, it's going to be 2 shots per target, and if it's, you're going obviously for 2 hits, but if it's more than 2 shots and you've only got 1 hit, oh well, you got to move on. Now we will go roughly here. This is a long enough shot that I should consider taking a knee. Good hits. Take it. Move up to the next position. And this guy, I shoot from this tree. If I can get a shot on him, and I usually have to kind of thread it right past. You have to get the shot past several trees and then rotate and handgun. A longer shot. Got 2 targets down there. There he is. And as you guys have heard me say before, when you're working around a vehicle that you like, just take it easy. Slow down. Don't get in a hurry, because that's how you end up taking a chunk out of your vehicle, or worse. Worse meaning putting a bullet hole in it. Every time you move around the vehicle, it is, obviously it's safety on, but it's safety check. Check that safety. Check that safety. I got home last night and I said to my wife, I have a bit of a concussion. She goes, what? And I said, I was shooting my 7.5 and her face kind of screwed up in a smirk. And I said, I was shooting my 7.5 and it's a little on the abusive side. And it pounds you pretty hard. And especially when you're zeroing, because you have to zero on the ground. I mean, you don't have to, but it's the smartest thing to do. Zeroing on the ground is always the smartest thing to do. Is a smarter thing to do. About here, we will do 4 targets out here, and possibly take a swing at that guy on the hill. Move away from the vehicle so you're not pitching casings into your paint job. Remember guys, every time that I separate from the vehicle and go back to the vehicle, all it is the practice of working around a vehicle. This drill doesn't have to be linear in any way whatsoever. It just has to be the practice of getting your shots and then going back to the vehicle. Oh, I love it. Those two hits actually touched each other. Look at that. There's one more down here. I moved him recently. I moved him into that stand of trees right there so that it would kind of catch you by surprise when you're coming down here. Got to put a face on him so he stands out better. Once I put that face on him, it is going to be creepy. Let's take a swing at that guy on the hill. From here, he is 150 yards. Thing of beauty. Thing of beauty. And back to the vehicle. Yeah, let's swap mags. Normally I would take the partial mag that came out of the gun and I'd shove it in a pocket, but since this right here is the only source of ammunition, it goes back in the bandolier. Verify safety's on. Into the vehicle. Alright, here's the part that's the bit of a twist. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drive the Overland Course first. Alright, the Overland Course is all of this. It's been completely extended by Colton and Colby from Clearview Land Services, and they have done a great job. So now what we've got going on is a totally usable pathway here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive the entire thing the first go around. I'm going to get back to where we were at the beginning. I'm going to get out of the vehicle and go back, basically go back in reverse. So work my way through the course in reverse, passing targets and then turning and hitting them. Actually, no, I'm sorry, yeah, because they're facing this way. So I'll work the course back through and then go all the way around and back to the vehicle. And that way, good boy, yeah, traction control is doing its job. And then go back to the vehicle, and that way you're getting the practice of driving overland with a vehicle, but also getting the practice of moving on foot in an expeditious manner. And the other thing that I've been doing lately is just driving over this course to kind of squash it down. I bottomed out here the other day in the vehicle and ended up having to use that switch up there to get the vehicle out, and it worked perfectly. Basically what happens is if you have this off and you in this case front right went down in a hole, back end, back right, back left lifted up, and bottom right was driven hard in, and the traction control system, just the limited slip differential just wasn't doing, it wasn't getting me out. So I switched that off. It shuts off the auto LSD, which is basically a simulated locking differential, and it also shuts off the pre-collision warning system. And if I remember correctly, someone also told me that it also deactivates your airbags. Whoa! Deactivates your airbags so that you don't accidentally trigger an airbag by doing one of those. And I was able to get the vehicle out and that stuck mess. And it did just fine. I mean, honestly, I had a mild panic attack, and then I remembered that that system is designed for that purpose. And I activated it, or technically deactivated it, and got the vehicle out. Anybody tells you that a two-wheel drive SR5 4Runner can't get it done, doesn't know what they're talking about. Because as you can see, this is relatively rough and wet, and this vehicle is doing just fine. Oof. All right, the vehicle stops. And then out we go. This isn't simulating anything, it's just the practice of getting out of the vehicle and moving, and then coming back to the vehicle. All right, here we go. I really like this optic setup because it's tall enough to keep your face in a relaxed position as opposed to kind of having to scrunch down. Love it. It allows you to get a real fast sight picture. You see how rough this is? These are areas where trees were pulled out and tossed off to the side, so it could actually be driven through. I knew it was going to be this rough, and I'm okay with it. I moved all of the targets, so I'm having to re-find everything. One right there. Remember, you could also move to a new position and hit the target again, maybe find a more challenging position like threading it through like this. 2 hits. Remember guys, when you're moving at pace, you don't have to hold the gun. The Tier 1 Citizen 2-point sling does that for you. It pulls it up along your side and hold it steady. All right, I think it's on this corner right here that you deviate briefly. Or is it up there? Well, we'll figure out in a minute. Yeah, it's up. It's that corner. Let's get back to the course. There's an area where there's a corner, and there's a target that I set up down below. Like I said earlier, there are a lot of holes out here that you've got to watch out for. Oh, I was head down, pumping. Didn't even realize I came up on a target. Yeah, I believe it's this one. And there's a target. There it is. See it down there? About 75 yards. Hit. Hit. Here's what's funny. When you're finding your landmarks on a tree for shooting, you might be accustomed to having your hand here because of a longer handguard, but I now have only 8 inches of handguard because the barrel stops here, well, here. The muzzle device is here. The gas block is here. So all of this up here is the reminder to not go past. So what I do is I shove it onto a tree. The magazine catches the tree, and then my hand hovers here. The thumb hovers around here. And then back on course. You can either go that way, which originally was going to be the course for vehicle, but I think we're going to go this way. Target out here in front of me, but I want to make sure I've got a clearer shot on it so I don't accidentally hit the edge and ruin the mounting hardware behind it. You can imagine how much fun a course of fire like this would be in a dead run. I've taken to calling this the ballistic hike, because if you actually do the entire thing just on foot, you're talking almost an hour. Especially if you start way at the bottom, at the 100-yard mark, the very bottom of the hill where I do my zeroing. You start there, 2 shots at 100 yards, or 200 yards if you feel like going further. And then making your way up the hill and negotiating all the other things that you already saw in this video. Totally forgot about that guy. You guys are seeing this first time just like I am. I came through here last week and moved a lot of steel around. As you can see, forgot where I put a lot of it. So this is a good practice in being aware of your surroundings, because I sure as heck wasn't. I basically walked into this guy's area. He could have easily gotten me. He has the high ground. We're almost back to the vehicle now. There we go. My ride. Safety's on. Muzzle check. It's good. Won't melt the seat. I am slinging mud. Clearly I'm going to have to hit the car wash before I get home. We've got church tomorrow, and I don't like my family walking up to the vehicle when it's all funky. Alright, let's finish off with a 300-yard hit for you guys. I just zeroed this yesterday, so here's for hoping that I zeroed it properly. That, and that I'm also giving it a proper holdover. Because with a 7.5, it isn't as easy as, like, you know, merely on his head. It's just like slightly over his head to actually get a chest hit. So let's see what we can get. There it is. Okay, so I've got to go, I don't know, half head high on his head. Yeah, okay, so half head high to get hits. Which means that I should probably go back and recheck the zero on this optic. Finish this off for you guys with some targets that I just finished putting together today. And I'll show you. They're actually handgun rated targets. but because 7.5 has low enough velocity, I can actually get away with hitting them. The tires catch the targets so that I don't break 2x4s. Okay. As long as I do ever so slightly an oblique shot, I mean, I can even get away with a full-on frontal, but I try to be just slightly off on these guys if I can. Oh, what the heck, let's just go straight on. Of course I ran out of ammo. Wow. This is going to be Superman. Okay, well, as you can see, the hits don't do much in the way of damage. Let's send him this way. That way he will definitely fall. Are you freaking kidding me? The 2x4 still broke. Some donut has shot this 2x4 up really bad. Man, look at that. They passed a bunch of bullets through the 2x4s like this. Oh, I swear. It's always a problem. Oh well. What are you gonna do, right? There's always somebody breaking your stuff. All right, guys, thank you for coming out to the inaugural run of the extended Overland Course with my newly modified 7.5. Hope you liked it. I'm going to hopefully, we will see how things go, hopefully get this on the schedule as a class. You know what, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What would you be willing to pay for something like this, for 8 hours access to it? Because it has to be worth my time. Let me finish. It has to be worth my time, and I'm not going to run 20 people. I will honestly cap this out at about 6. Only because I never want to have to rely on an assistant instructor. And I'll tell you why, and then I'll let you go. Several years ago, I came pulling up to a training facility where I hadn't been in a while, and the instructor greets everyone in the parking lot as you're coming in, and the instructor came up to me, he's a friend of mine, shook my hand. I said, "Hey man, how you doing?" And he goes, "Struggling to find good people who will how was it they put it, who will follow through on their commitments," or something like that. I get it, guys, I get it. Assistant instructors think it's cool. Look, I'm a firearms instructor. Yeah, and that means you're giving up every Sunday, every Saturday and every Sunday. Anyone who thinks that being a firearms instructor is glorious, no, you're deluding yourself. You're living at hotels. If you're an itinerant instructor, you're living at hotels. But more than that, you're relying on other people to always be there to help you teach a class, because you have to have 10, 15, 20 people to make it worth your while. Usually 10 to 12 to make it worth your while. And so the going rate is $300 per person for an 8-hour class. So, let's talk about it in the comment section. As always, I thank you guys for supporting me on tier1citizen.com with your donations and your purchases. God bless you all. Get those guns out and practice. Have a good one.